Welcome to John Esser Sports Channel, where we're going straight into Championship Game Week 5. Yes, we've been through the international break. We're now in Game Week 5, and we can enjoy the predictions for Championship football. We're going straight in with Ipswich versus Sheffield United. Of course, Ipswich in 20th, Sheffield United in 24th. They're top of the no. This game should have been a top 6 game, shouldn't it? Let's face it. Instead, it's 20th versus 24th. What do we think about that? Sheffield United, of course, haven't won one yet. The last 6 games, all defeats. And Ipswich Town, we look at those. They've not been faring so good themselves in 20th position. Indeed, their last 6 games shows a little bit better than Sheffield United. Lose, draw, 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 lose, draw. Last time out for Ipswich shows pretty much what they've seen throughout this season so far. Lots and lots of shots and a decent amount of possession. However, but a good amount of possession. However, just not getting those wins. And Derby County are a good side. Don't get me wrong. Derby County have made some really good acquisitions over the summer. And I think 2 shots on target for Derby County, 2 in the net, shows you how lucky they've been. But they've deserved the luck. They have been playing some really good football. Ipswich Town, 69% possession, 18 shots, 5 on target, 2 in the net. And they'll be thinking, what do we have to do to turn these draws into wins? And even then, it was Ipswich that equalised on... was it something stupid? 90 plus 16 minutes. Derby County, they're thinking, that they got it sewn up until 16 minutes into extra time. Not quite sure where those 16 minutes came from. We were actually watching that in the watch along, and people, even the commentators there, were saying, "Where's the 16 minutes come from?" Obviously, they had an injury, but not 6. They weren't thinking 16 minutes. So Ipswich playing some decent football here, getting the shots off, but not getting the results against a Sheffield United side that they got about 1 shot on target in the last 6 games, and that's what's been on all of the Sheffield United fans' minds when they've been on the talk-ins and on their YouTube videos. It's been all about the chance creation or lack of it. So here we are with 2 very poor teams at the minute. I think Ipswich, for me, just about they're getting the draws. At least they're getting points. However, like the last game, 2-1 down until 90 plus 16 minutes to equalise, and yet they had the majority of the shots, in fact nearly all the shots, at goal. So I have to be thinking Ipswich Town. And what are you thinking? 1-1, 1-0, 2-1, 1-0 and 3-1. I'm going to go with your idea there. I'm going to go Ipswich 2, Sheffield United 1. Sorry, Blades fans, but I really can't see this one being your day. And we go to the Saturday games now, which starts with Charlton versus Millwall. Charlton 16th, Millwall in 12th. And Charlton win, draw, lose, lose, lose. Last 3 defeats: Leicester City at home 1-0, Cambridge United away in the Cup 3-1 defeat, and then a QPR 3-1 defeat away in the Championship against Millwall. Win, lose. Well, it should be a win then, shouldn't it? Last time out for them, 2-0 defeat at home to Wrexham. Wrexham, for me, being up and down. They've got some good players in there, some cracking players, but they've got experience. Have they got is the age on their side? Not quite sure. Will they start to wane? I think that this side's Hollywood appearance will start to wane as we get through the season. Will it wane here, and what do you think? QPR game then for Charlton. QPR 3, Charlton 1. This is sort of like it's sort of like things have been going for Charlton. It was pretty much even. But if anyone, I would say that it was quite probably Charlton slightly disappointed that they couldn't get more of their shots on target. However, 3-1. No, I think 2-1 would have been fair. 90 plus 7 minutes for the Cone winner there at 3-1 to QPR. I think 2-1 would have been fair in this one, but I think that Charlton fans will be going away thinking we had the shots, we just couldn't get enough of them on target. Just have a quick look at the passing there. The passing in this game was pretty average, actually. I think Charlton was slightly ahead on it, but from what I remember of the game, the notes say that it was good mid-table passing. A couple of faulty passes, a couple of short passes, long passes, but not quite as the top half class or standard, but not the bottom half either. Millwall then, last time out, Wrexham 2-0 defeat at home. Millwall 0, Wrexham 2. The Den was becoming somewhere to be feared to go, and then Wrexham turned up. 90 plus 18 minutes, their second goal for Wrexham, and by then I think Millwall were really pushing to get that equaliser, and they looked like they were going to get it. It's just that 21 shots for Millwall, none in the net, only 2 on target. This was a side that was just get sight of goal, shoot. 20. There's no excuse for 2 shots on target out of 21. Absolutely no excuse whatsoever. That was a poor attack. And realistically, Millwall fans will be going away saying, how on earth were all of those shots wayward or blocked? Actually, 14 of those 21 were actually just wayward and way out. The other 7, 5 were blocked and 2 were on target. So it's not as if all of them were blocked. This shows a side that's slightly lost its way in the Millwall camp. A Charlton side that is, but they are winning more. We do have to take that. They won Coventry, and you only have to go back to that game before. Millwall 2, Coventry 1, and the game there was completely different. There, Millwall they didn't have as much game time. They actually sat back and allowed Coventry to come at them because Coventry were keeping the ball and having such great passing techniques. But when Millwall had the ball, they managed to get into the opposition's half and make a couple of really good shots, 2 shots on target, 2 in the net. And they didn't fire off willy-nilly. Only 9 shots in the entire game, 1 every 10 minutes. Yet they did a better job. It was planned. It was precise. It was a game plan that worked. And that's what seemed to be wrong last time. The game plan, perhaps, or just. That's all I can put it down to. Perhaps it was just the wrong game plan. With Wrexham, if you get anywhere near, you have to shoot. Didn't work, did it? So what are you thinking for Charlton Millwall? 0-0, 0-1, 0-1, 1-2 and 1-1. I can't separate these two. I can really not separate them. I know we should be looking at a Millwall win, but I'm going to go with Charlton 1, Millwall 1, and we will move on to the next one, which is Oxford versus Leicester. Now, Oxford versus Leicester is an interesting one because Oxford are in 22nd, Leicester are in 4th, and everybody's thinking here a Leicester City win. We'll do your scores first for that very reason. 1-2, 0-1, 0-1, 1-2, 1-2. Now, the interesting thing is you're all thinking that Oxford are going to score, lose, win, lose, draw. The last time out was a 2-2 home draw to Coventry, and Coventry are playing some really good passing football, and in that game they really did play some excellent passing football. Coventry again with some really they had the ball 2 or 3 times more often and managed to just pass the ball around with very little difficulty. Oxford, on the other hand, made a few errors, and Coventry grabbed them immediately and managed to do very well from them. But Oxford were they were getting into the final third. When they had the ball, getting into the opposition's half as soon as they can, getting a shot off, and 2-2. And they probably deserve that 2-2, to be quite honest. I think Coventry fans will be disappointed they didn't win it, but Oxford fans at home will be thinking that was a good point. So then we go to Leicester City, win, draw, lose, win, and you see the Leicester City win 2-0 at home to Birmingham. Realistically, I think Leicester were always there. They keep shooting quite a lot. They seem to have enough shots, except for this Birmingham game. For me, very, very almost like not wanting to lose this game, either of these teams. Only 3 shots on target for if you add up all the shots on target for both teams. 2 on target for Leicester, 1 on target for Birmingham, 2-0 to Leicester. It wasn't the best of football. However, Birmingham were probably the better at keeping the ball and passing it better. They passed it better, more precision to it. Leicester City, yeah, they gave it away once or twice, but Birmingham didn't make them pay for it. And this was a game of what it looked like. It was a game of we don't want to lose it. And Birmingham, they are losing to Leicester City. Leicester 2, Birmingham 0. Just go to the game before that, just to show you what I mean. It was a Leicester City win away at Charlton, and it was Charlton 0, Leicester 1. And in that game, we see that Leicester had again 6 shots. So they have actually started to wane on those shots. I'm sure they were doing quite well at the beginning, weren't they? Let me just check them. Okay, Sheffield Wednesday. Well, the Sheffield Wednesday one, that was the one where they were absolutely pelting the other end, weren't they? Where stats may not show that, yeah, Leicester City, 27 shots. So they started off really well with plenty of pizzazz up front, able to shoot almost ad hoc. In the last 2 games, though, they've not really had the ability up front that they've had in the first 2 or 3 games. Yeah, they had plenty of shots against Preston as well. So it seems to have dried up in the last 2 games. Not sure why. Do like and subscribe. Leicester fans, tell me why the last 2 games those shots actually decreased so dramatically. Oxford United, 6 in the Carabao Cup against Brighton, 2-2. Really good draw that last time out. It may be closer than you think. I think Oxford will score here. And like I say, you're all saying 1-2, 0-1, 0-1, 1-2, 1-2. I'll go with you. Oxford United 1, Leicester City 2. Could they nick a draw again? You know, Oxford United fans, you could actually nick a draw here as we go to another game, which is going to be interesting. I'm going to play my joker here. It's Preston versus Borough. And Preston North End have been doing some amazing, there've been some really good games. Look, they have recruited really well. And a couple of my subscribers from Preston have been saying, oh, we're going to lose it. And they won against Leicester, and they won against Ipswich. You know, this is a team that can do really well. It's last 6, draw, win, lose. Lost 2-3 at home to Wrexham, but if you look at that one, 90 plus 2 minutes for the Wrexham winner. This should have been a draw. Realistically, Preston would have been kicking themselves. This had a draw all over it. Both teams, when they got the ball, played it around so well. Hardly ever losing the ball through an error. And the passing was brilliant. The tackling was good. It was absolutely amazing. But Preston lost it. And Preston fans would have been the ones going home thinking, how the hell did we lose that one? And Portsmouth, again, the same thing. Portsmouth won last time out. Preston 0. And if you look at the game itself, it was almost Preston. If you take the passing out of it, that game was a 1-1 game. every night and day, that was a 1-1 game. If you look at the possession and the ability for Preston to actually play the ball in their own half, passing it around really, really well, really skillfully, then you think, well, Preston should have at least got a goal out of that, because they passed and pressed a lot more effectively than Portsmouth did. But they lost. Again, another game, 2 in a row, where you think Preston fans were going away thinking, how the hell did we lose it? And that's what I mean. When you go to the Borough side that they're playing, Borough lose, win, win. And of course, you can't get away from the table. Borough in first, Preston in 9th. Let's go to the last game. The last 3 games for Borough. 3-0 win away at Millwall. 2-1 away win against Norwich. And the last one, which we'll look at now, is Sheffield United at home 1-0 win. So Borough 1, Sheffield United 0. And realistically, again, Sheffield United with no shots on target. Borough were playing. Both of these teams, when they got the ball, were just amazing at keeping it. Really good tackling, really good interceptions. But on the whole, when they had the ball, these teams were just knocking it around between each other, almost without any risk of losing it. The skill in passing with both teams was brilliant. A great game to watch for a neutral. However, Borough really should have done a little bit better. 15 shots at target, 6 on target, 1 in the net. If you're going to be if you're going to be up there, surely you should be scoring more than 1 in 6. But that's what it was. I think Borough fans will be going away feeling the most disgruntled, thinking, should have been a lot more than that at home against a bottom of the league Sheffield United. But it wasn't. So what are you all thinking? You're thinking 1-0, 1-2, 0-2, 1-0 and 1-1. I can see what you're thinking. Preston keep having those little bits where they think, the last 2 should have won it. They've been unlucky in a few of these games, Preston, and they've been playing some damn good football against some damn good teams. Whereas Borough, it's the should be element. They should have done better than what they. Yes, they've been winning, absolutely. But then you throw in that 4-0 defeat at home to Doncaster Rovers in the cup, and you think, actually, maybe this side's 1-0, 1-0 win, 2-1 win. The 3-0 win, okay, that was concise, even perhaps should have been a bit more. And they do the 1-0 win Swansea. It doesn't really put a great deal of faith in scoring lots of goals, apart from the Millwall game, of course. But even that should have been more. So, what are you thinking for the Preston Borough game? 1-0, 1-2, 0-2, 1-0, 1-1. I played the Joker here, and I'm going to go Preston 1, Borough 0. And we'll move on to the next game, which is Coventry versus Norwich. Now, Coventry are, for me, they're flying. They're by far the better of the 2 teams. It has to be Coventry, doesn't it? Norwich City have shown a little bit of improvement. I think they started lackluster, and in fact, I'd have been saying, from what they were playing, they're going to be in the bottom third. It's Coventry 5th, Norwich in 11th. They seem to have pulled themselves up by their bootstrings as soon as they realised they'd started so badly. I think they managed to immediately put that to right, or at least a little bit to right. And they started to get some wins under their belt. Coventry, draw, win, lose, draw. Against Norwich City, lose, win, lose, win. The last time out for Coventry was a 2-2 draw to Oxford. So Oxford 2, Coventry 2. And in this game, like I said earlier, realistically, Coventry will have been thinking, after we'd played such great passing football but not managed to win it, 64% possession, 15 shots, 6 on target, and we draw 2-2. They must have been gutted. At the same time, Oxford fans are walking away thinking, hell, that was a good draw. So that's where I'm coming from the Coventry perspective. So where we're coming from the Norwich perspective, lose, win, win, lose, win. Blackburn last time out. Blackburn with a McLaughlin sent off on 44 minutes. Did it make a difference? Yeah, because obviously Josh Sargent got a penalty on 45 and a goal on 90 plus 1. Look, Josh Sargent is almost certainly going to score here. I just think that it's going to be a very interesting. There's two great strikers in these two sides. What's going to happen? In that game, though, Blackburn 0, Norwich 2. Pretty much even, to be quite honest. I think Norwich had slightly better passing. But on the whole, this was a good top half performance from both sides. I would have actually said that even with 10 men, this Blackburn side should have made a draw from this. I think 2 goals from 4 on target for Norwich just sums it up. They were just more clinical with those shots that went on target. Will a more clinical Norwich side in those last few games, will it manage to turn it round? Remember, they had a Borough defeat 2-1 before that and a Southampton defeat 3-0 in the Cup, home, both at home before that, Norwich. So they're still very much up and down. So you're saying Coventry 5th, Norwich 11th, 3-2, 2-2, 3-2, 2-1 and 3-1. I agree with you. This is the talk here is of the two strikers, and it really is going to be the front end that make or break this game. It could be as much as a 3-3 draw for me. But I'm not going. I'm going to go one way. I'm going to go with home side. I think that Norwich are a little bit too up and down for me. Coventry City 3, Norwich City 1. Battle of the Cities won by Coventry then. So let's go to Sheffield Wednesday versus Bristol City. Sheffield Wednesday 23rd, Bristol City in 6th. Of course, it's the two Sheffield clubs at the bottom. Sheffield Wednesday lose, draw, lose, draw, draw, lose. Now you've got to remember the last 2 draws. Wrexham away 2-2. Bloody good game. They really did play extremely well. At home in the Cup against Leeds, Sheffield Wednesday 1, Leeds 1, and that was a bloody good game for Sheffield Wednesday. They went to they were at home against Swansea City. This was a little bit less of a good performance, I think, from Wednesday. Only 1 shot on target during the entire game, and they just didn't ever get going. Which is a shame because they played so well in the couple of games before, and people were saying they're not getting the points that we think they would get from the performance they're giving, especially from Barry Bannon. And you're thinking, where did this home game come from? Because it was absolutely out of character. And then the Swansea City side, they really they deserve to win it, but they probably deserve to win it by more than 2-0, to be quite honest. And Swansea's passing was absolutely phenomenal. It was the best of the Championship, actually, for that round of games. Absolutely brilliant. Keeping the ball, passing it brilliantly. Well done, Swansea City. Bristol City, though, win, draw, lose, win. The only defeat was in the Carabao Cup against Fulham, 2-0 away. I think we can just about allow them that. But the game of interest will be the last one, the Bristol City 4, Hull City 2. Hull City scoring in 90 plus 3, and I think realistically at 3-1. Yeah, 4-1, sorry. I can sort of see the Bristol City fans thinking, actually, with the number of attacks that Hull City had done, you're really lucky to have got 4 against them and only let in 1. 4-2 was probably making it more like the score it should be. 29 shots from Bristol City, 20 from Hull. This was just an all-out attack. Forget the defence, this is all-out attack. and actually the passing was pretty good. So the goals didn't come from bad passes or poor passes on the whole. It was good passing. So a great one to watch. 4-2. I have to say that Bristol City are playing some really good football. Sheffield United, back, I remember that 6 games ago, away win at Sheffield United 4-1, and they ran that one, even though Sheffield United had a fair few shots, but none on target again. It's a difficult one for me to look at, Sheffield Wednesday, Bristol City, because I think Sheffield Wednesday can play some damn good football and not get the wins. And you're against a Bristol City, though, that can play some great football and get the win, or great football and not get the win, like the Derby draw and the Charlton draw. So it's going to be hard. I think Bristol City have the edge for me. It's a case of how much, because they can score quite well. They can. I mean, the 4-2 against Hull shows you they can put the ball in the back of the net. I think on this one, the strengths in the Wednesday side are sort of like the advancing midfield and the attacking midfield side. I think the defence is still slightly weak. I think that Bristol City may get 1 or 2 goals here. What are you thinking? Sheffield Wednesday, Bristol City, 0-2, 1-3, 0-2, 1-1 and 0-2. I just think that Wednesday will actually score here. They are at home, and I think that they have the capabilities of scoring. Sheffield Wednesday 1, Bristol City 3, and we'll move on to Stoke City versus Birmingham. Birmingham, of course, came up from League One, and they were playing some really good football. They tried playing that Championship football at first in League One. It doesn't work in League One, so you had to change. They changed really well, adapted after about 6 games, and went up. But they seem to have done really well here. It's a Stoke City in 3rd against Birmingham in 10th, and I'm pleased to say that Birmingham didn't do the same misinterpretation of the way the Championship play. They obviously been in there far too long to misunderstand that, and they played some good Championship football in the Championship, and they've been doing really well. Stoke City, though, have been playing well as well. Win, draw, win, lose, lose. Last 2 games, Bradford City defeated the Carabao Cup at home 3-0. But Bradford actually, at that point, were just... They still had that good defence at that point. It was about to just drop off, but at that point it was quite good. West Brom at home win 1-0. We'll look at that one for the Stoke game. Stoke City... They've been playing some decent upper half football. Plenty of shots, keeping the opposition down to not a huge number of shots, but they're also not keeping them from shooting at all. So, it's a decent game of football across all areas of the pitch. 1-0 win to West Brom. I think this was a draw all over it, to be quite honest. About even with the play. There was about the same number of shots, exactly the same number of shots on target. 13 against 12 for shots, 3 against 3 for on target. Stoke City. Again, Stoke City passing was pretty good. West Brom's was pretty good. It was just the clinical finishing of West Brom's Nathaniel Phillips that got it on 14 minutes. Stoke City pretty disappointed, I should think, in that one. Birmingham City, of course, last time out against a very good Leicester City squad. Leicester 2, Birmingham 0. Leicester really 8 minutes and 88 minutes. So they really did tantalise Birmingham. They were trying to get back into this game for so long. And it looked like they would. They had the majority of the shots. They only got 1 on target though against Leicester's 2 on target. Leicester's 2 on target, 2 in the net. You can't argue against it, can you? But Birmingham actually played a better passing game, and I think tactically for me, Birmingham were for the majority of that game were ahead. but they lost it 2-0. So they'll have been disappointed as well. So we've got two teams here that have been playing really well up to these last two games, both getting 3 wins and 1 draw, and in the last 2 games both of them will be feeling pretty poor, having both lost against League One sides in the cup. They and then had a championship game where they should have got at least a draw and lost it. So they're both identical for me, and I find Stoke Birmingham is going to be an extremely hard one to predict indeed. All I'm going to say is that they can both let goals in and they both score goals, so I'm not sure which way round this is going to go. It could go 2-0 either way. What are you saying? You're saying 2-1, 1-1, 2-2, 1-1, 1-2. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to go with Stoke 2, Birmingham 2, and we'll move on to the next game. Remember, like, subscribe, and give me your comments down below. Swansea versus Hull City next. Swansea lose, win, win, draw, draw, win. 5 games unbeaten. Sheffield Wednesday, they played last time out. I've already said their passing was brilliant. Their game plan was brilliant. I think they had an absolutely stonkingly hot game. Well done, the Swans, and they can score. They don't always score as many as we expect them to do, but they can score. Hull City have been doing a lot better than we thought they would. Draw, 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 win, lose, lose. Look, the depth of squad here is a difficult thing for me. Being under that embargo was just took the edge off, because you had to ask for permission to get the players in, but you did, and you did get some good players in. Last time out, 4-2 defeat there for Hull City against Bristol City. If you look just from a Hull City perspective, like I said when we looked at the Bristol City one, 29 shots for Bristol City and 20 from Hull. I could see this being perhaps should have been a lot closer than 4-2. But they're doing a good game. They're playing a good game. Their passing's good. And this is going to be a game, I think, where you're going to see Swansea and Hull both capable of doing a really good passing game. And if that's true, then this may not be the highest of scoring games. Lots of shots perhaps, but the passing here may actually reduce the number of shots, because I just think that these two sides can both score plenty. So it's either going to be a great passing game where there's loads of goals, or it's a great passing game where it becomes 0-0. What are you saying? 1-1, 3-1, 3-1, 2-0 and 2-1. I'm tempted with a 3-2. I'm going to go with Swansea 3, Hull City 1. We'll go with you. I'm sort of bending on a 3-2, and it could be either way as well. We go to Watford versus Blackburn next, and Watford for me just not quite showing the skills that team's got. Draw, lose, lose, win, draw, draw. They only win against QPR in the Championship 2-1 at home. Last time out, 2-2 for Watford against at home to Southampton, and they did a good game. I mean, it was a draw. It was a draw. I mean, it's 2-2, 1-1. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a good performance from Watford all over the pitch. Certainly they managed to hold off that Southampton side, which is a good Southampton side, pretty much all the way through. Swansea, remember, 1-1 before that, and that was holding off a team that did and can keep the ball very well. And yet, although Swansea kept the ball, they very well, it ended up with Watford 1-1. So Norwich City was Blackburn's last game. Draw, lose, 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 win and lose. They could only manage a draw against Sheffield United. Shocked. One would have thought Blackburn would have beaten them. The only win there is against Hull City, 3-0 away 2 games ago. Norwich City, the last time out, and of course Sean McLaughlin got sent off on 44, so it doesn't look like he's going to be around. And we've got a game here that could have been 0-0. Could absolutely have been 0-0. Norwich just happened to make the most of that red card, a penalty straight after, and then a 90+1 minute winner. And Norwich City, I think, stole the game here. Although, to me, 0-0 probably would have been about the right score here. Blackburn probably feeling a little bit disgruntled. They didn't get anything. It's another hard one. Watford in 14th, Blackburn in 19th. I think I'll go with whatever you're saying, actually. Let's have a look. 2-0, 2-1, 2-1, 1-2, 1-0. Great. Do I think Blackburn are going to score? Yeah, they have a tendency to score. We're going to go with Watford 2, Blackburn 1, and we'll quickly move on away from that one because I think Blackburn need to turn this one around. Do you think they will? Like, subscribe, tell me down below. We go on to Albion versus Derby. I'm trying to get it as nice and quickly as I can for you. Albion versus Derby, and Derby has done some really good incomings, haven't they? Against a West Brom side that have actually been doing really well. West Brom win, draw, win. All the way back 6 games ago. 5-3 win at home to Luton Town, if you remember that one. Last time out, a 1-0 win away to Stoke City. And Stoke would have been feeling a little bit disgruntled here. I don't think it should have been a draw. This should have been a draw. Plenty of shots for both sides, not enough probably converted to on target. It just happened to be West Brom that were more clinical in front of goal. Perhaps we have to think about that because Derby County lose, draw. Last time out though, an Ipswich draw, and they would have been grinning. They did it. Ipswich 2, Derby 2. Should it have been a draw for Derby? 18 shots for Ipswich, 5 on target, 2 in the net. Derby County, 10 shots, 2 on target, 2 in the net. It just happened to flow for them, didn't it? And their passing wasn't that great, Derby's either, whereas Ipswich's was 2 or 3 times better than theirs. Ipswich didn't make the most of the times that Derby County's passing was poor. So where do you come from on this one? We'll go with you straight off, I think. 2-1 to Albion, 1-0, 1-1, 1-0 and 2-1. I think in this one, I think we're gonna have to go with Albion 1, Derby 0. I just think that that West Brom's at home. I can't see it being a draw, Thorns. No. Let's not have another draw, Thorns 2 in a game. Crikey, that'd be 3. That'd be 3 home games with a 1-1 draw. No, we're not going to go with that. We'll stick with the 1-0 to Albion. We'll go for Wrexham versus QPR. Now, Wrexham went up, obviously trying to get the Hollywood Bowl feel to this. Wrexham lose, draw, win. Last 2 wins, 2-3 away to Preston and a 0-2 away at Millwall. The Millwall game, we've just covered it, and Millwall really would have been smart in. They should have made this a draw, or at least 21 shots to Millwall. 2 on target and none in the net, whereas Wrexham only had 6 shots, but 3 of them were on target and 2 in the net. A draw at least for Millwall would have been right. This was a 90 plus 18 minutes was their second goal, by the way, so it really did run for them all the way through to 18 minutes after extra time. So it's just fallen. It has been falling for again. It's been falling for Wrexham a couple of times now. QPR lose, draw, lose, and a win last time out against Charlton Athletic. But Charlton have been playing quite good, and if you look at the QPR game here, they would have been really chuffed with this win. They did play better. They just about nicked it for me. Was it a 3-1? It was probably a 1-goal win. If you look at how they played, their passing wasn't great, but neither was Charlton's, and that's not like them. But QPR made the most of when they had the ball, and when they shot, they tried to make sure it was on target. And I think overall, they deserved 2 or 3 goals. 3-1 to Charlton, 3-1 home win against Charlton there for QPR. Have they turned it round? Well, that game was actually quite good, and they seemed to tidy up a lot more in that game. What do you think? So I think this may not be as one-sided as people are thinking. Wrexham QPR 15th against 18th, 2-1, 4-2, 0-1, 2-1 and 3-1. I'm going to go with my own. I'm going to go with Wrexham 1, QPR 1. I really don't think there's going to be an awful lot in it here. I think that QPR have the abilities to, and they've been in that division so long, they know how to cope with these newcomers coming in and thinking they can win every game. We go to the Battle Royale next, and this really is a Battle Royale, isn't it? The Portsmouth fans actually can't get to Southampton. There's no trains. The bus and train stations are closed for the day. None of the bus companies want to go there because it's running and pitch battles. Last time for the last few games they've met each other. The Portsmouth fans really can't get up there without sort of walking across the bridge. Southampton versus Portsmouth next, and it's Southampton in 13th, Portsmouth in 8th. So Portsmouth go into this on top, and Portsmouth are looking like they could actually nick an away win. Southampton win, draw, lose, win and draw. Look, their defence has been a bit rocky. Norwich win 3-0 in the Carabao Cup 2 games ago for Southampton. Last time out, an away draw to Watford 2-2. Watford 2, Southampton 2. Realistically, it was a draw. And really, if anybody could have won this by 1 goal, it would have been Watford. I think this was a typical mid-table performance by Southampton. Not particularly great passing. Not particularly great shots for me. However, I'm sure you're going to be telling me that I'm talking a load of rubbish. The Norwich game, if we go to the Norwich game, Norwich 0, Southampton 3, the game before, and we try and get some idea from that. Again, it's a sort of meh game. About the same sort of figures for Southampton, 8-9 shots and 4 or 5 on target, 3 in the net though this time, so they were more clinical on there. Can they be more clinical with their shots on target? That's probably been the key to these last few games for Southampton. Portsmouth, let's have a look. They've had the run of the green a few times here. I fear. Draw, win, lose, draw, win. The last time out they got defeated was Norwich City 3 games ago, 2-1 at home. So it's Portsmouth 2, Portsmouth 1, Norwich 2. And actually I think that Portsmouth came back to try and get a draw here. 84 minutes they got their goal, and after that it was constantly Portsmouth bang, bang, bang. They actually did play some really good passing football, and they can play some great passing football. The depth of squad is a little bit poor for me, but this early on in the season, will it matter? No. Of course, that man Josh Sargent happened to score there again. And I think that this Portsmouth side is looking at trying to just hopefully get a draw at least here. Just look at that win last time out for Portsmouth. Portsmouth 1, Preston 0. And you have to remember what we said. Preston were actually... their passing was really good here. Portsmouth was pretty rocky. Again, when put aside Preston's, it was pretty rocky. It was a sort of good mid-table performance by Portsmouth as far as passing was concerned. But when you look at Preston's, it was blown out of the water. Preston will have been disappointed not to get a draw here, and if you look at it that way, it's what do you lot think of Southampton versus Portsmouth? This is where I tell you I'm in the middle. I've got Portsmouth there, I've got Southampton there. I'm right in the middle. I'm actually on the border of Portsmouth and Southampton. So what are you saying? 2-1, 1-1, 3-2, 1-1, 2-2. You know, I think this one's going to be a battle royale indeed. I don't know how many Portsmouth fans will be able to get there, to be quite honest. There's no buses, no transportation for the day. The police are on the highest of high alerts. Pubs are shutting. All the transport hubs have already said they're not opening for the day. Ouch. I'll make it quick for you. Southampton 1, Portsmouth 2. Sorry, Saints fans. I think they're going to nick it. I think that they're going to be absolutely overjoyed. And I'll call it a day for Game Week 5 of the Championship. Please do like and subscribe. Give me your comments down below. Remember, join us at Sports Channel. Like and subscribe.